Hello, and welcome to the 5th episode of CORPcast. You wonderful listeners, this is Tom at Darblade98, and here are your usual hosts.
Casey at Anubis God, coming back from America.
And of course you have me, the only important one, Johnny, from Dr. Awesome.
And we're also joined by a super special guest at Thundrax. Would you like to introduce yourself, Thundrax?
Hi, I'm Scott Penny at Thundrax, and glad to be on CORPcast.
Sweet.
As well you should be. Not many people get to meet Johnny in the voice.
Yes, I'm very overwhelmed.
Only everybody that ever goes on Vent ever gets to meet Johnny in the voice.
Okay, today we're going to be talking about power sets. We got some information about sets that Cryptic are doing and what we'd like to see. We're also going to be talking about if you were going to be fighting a blank, what would you do? I think Johnny's going to fill the blank for us later. We're going to talk about villains. How do you RP villains? How do you RP with them? Social events. Does it make sense? We're going to cover that. And we've got Thundrax. We're going to talk to Thundrax about his contributions to Champions Lore. Okay, so we're going to start with power sets. We've seen some posts from the forums. Robobo has told us in a post that we're going to be seeing a wind and a earth power set, hopefully by the end of the year. I think previous information showed that the earth was going to be in the brick set, which is cool. Yep. Yeah, I thought so. Anything you guys would like to see from wind or earth?
I would like Earth to have a lot of support stuff in it, so it's easier to get to Unleashed Rage without destroying your build. That sucks. And I don't like it.
I don't think I agree with you there on 100% level, Casey. I think Earth should be more of a area of effect type deal. You know, like you stomp your big Earth leg into the ground and pillars shoot up all around you, throwing criminals everywhere and destroying the bank that you're saving. I think that's what Earth should really be about.
That's kind of like what Might is, though, minus the pillars of Earth. It'd be like adding an Earth overlay to Havoc Stomp would be that.
Essentially, yeah.
I think that would be great.
I guess that's not a bad thing. It could be both. They could do both in one set. I'll concede this point.
As many other points you will.
Shut up.
I could see hands coming out of the earth and grabbing you, or quicksand slowing your movement, or being a debuff to Dex.
I like that quicksand idea, like a quagmire. Or you make somebody have very muddy shoes so they can't go into the Until building without cleaning them.
You could do the lethargy effect from the one tower in Demon Flame and use that as a power overlay on the person affected so that they are reacting a little slowly.
That's a pretty cool idea.
That is a good idea. You know what, Cryptic? You need to step up your game because it's just been brought to you by Scott Benny. I think your jobs are in peril now. I'm just stating the pretty much obvious after that one incredible thought.
I see it being support and tanking. Like, I could see something like a circle power, where you, like, root yourself into the ground or something.
That would mostly plant, though. But I guess they could fold some of planting to Earth,
yeah,
but I don't know if you want to do those separately.
I guess. I don't mean root. I don't mean, like, literally roots. I mean just, like, you stomp your big rock feet, and then you are the Earth.
You become unmovable.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a good one, actually. Unmovable.
That could be a good, like active defense or something.
That would be nice. But yeah, I think they should even cover plants along with the Earth, such as chains were sort of added to the Might class. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like vines and stuff?
Yes.
Plus then we could get a self-heal.
It might be a little bit lazy, per se, just reskinning the chains, rename the attacks and whatever. But you know, it would cover that niche so easily and so effectively, I think.
Then have to make the powers a bit better.
Yeah. I don't see what the problem... Well, okay. I like the chain powers. I think they work exactly like they should, except I don't like the range on them. If the range was a bit better, I mean, they would be perfect skills for the Might set. But then again, who has a 100-foot chain on them at all times?
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, oh. Nicolas
Spawn.
Cage. Okay, I can see Spawn. I feel a little bit hurt now. All right, fine. Those two very rare examples can have 100-foot chains.
I don't know if Ghost Rider's very rare.
See a lot of them in game.
Okay, what about wind? I mean,
It's
we already
gonna be-
have some of the wind powers with the Jin.
They do crushing damage, I think.
Yes, they do.
It's probably going to be kind of like Force then. Not that that's a bad thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
Knockback.
understand the crushing damage. When I think of wind,
Slashing.
I
I
think
think of slashing.
slashing, yes.
They could change that.
They could.
Yeah,
I think they should.
I think they will because guns do ranged piercing, Force does ranged crushing, nothing does ranged slashing. That's the third physical damage type.
That's pretty good. Yeah, it seems like good reasoning. I could see a lot of repels,
Oh, yes.
and holds probably, like tornado holds.
Which they had.
Yes, they do. Exactly. So no reason not to put that in.
Good. I like control.
They could reuse
All the controls.
They could reuse the sand lunge from the Jin and put that in the Earth set if they wanted to give Might another lunge. It already has, what, 3?
It would have. Yeah, it
It
already
would
have
have
3.
4.
It would have 4. You can't go wrong though. Come on.
Never have enough lunges.
No.
That's true, because they make Lunge Man.
But they also make your legs powerful, if you know the lunge I'm talking about. Everybody loves powerful legs.
I have nothing. I have nothing for that.
No, okay, I'm sorry, Johnny. I'm also very happy that you didn't make the potentially obvious joke when we start talking about wind, but thank you.
I restricted myself very heavily. I want you to know that I took one for the team.
Thanks.
Continue taking that one for the team.
We appreciate it. Okay,
I don't know.
what, because obviously there's loads of power sets we'd all like to see. But what about, like, niches? What sort of classic archetypes do you think aren't represented yet?
I think the biggest one that they haven't added in yet would be anything that has to do with speed and transformation. So a speedster set and a metamorph set are the other big hero archetypes. Speedster's a bit harder because it's like, well, just take super speed and use martial arts. And metamorph is a bit harder because it's like, then you have to make powers that replace the costume pieces, and players are going to be like, but I made a costume the way I wanted to. So well, those are the two that I would like.
Yeah. I can think of a few others. Radiation powers, cosmic powers. One I'd like to see, which is very niche, but is a Starguard set.
I would also like to see that, actually.
Yeah. Because I don't think, even if you had a staff elimination point, you couldn't quite get their powers right. You get pretty close with Force and TK, but it's not quite there.
I gotta throw my hat into this one as well. There's 2 big ones I think you both, all of you guys are missing. Is 1, shield powers. You gotta give that out. And
That's
2, staff powers. Like fighting with the staff. And these both can probably go in the martial arts thing as, I don't know, just additional powers. But having a staff is a big, like, think, Nighthawk. No, Robin.
Yep, and there's also daggers.
Daggers I would love.
Daggers too.
Mm.
I guess you could do daggers though by reskinning or adding more dual blade skins.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not that. I mean, daggers is the sort of one I wouldn't want to see for a long time, just because it's very niche, and you can't do that. But it doesn't work. Like literally the length of knives doesn't work well with dual blades. It looks very bad, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I saw something on the forums I think is a good idea for daggers, where if you look at all of the sets in the technology tree, they all have melee attacks, except archery.
Yes.
And if you gave daggers, like hunting knives to archery, you don't have to make a full set for them, but they're still in the game as options.
I would be
That
okay
is
with that.
an intelligent idea. I don't see why you just said you came up with that idea, because that would have made me think.
Say that.
I know, but it would,
okay.
I'm saying if you did say that, it would make me think much, much, much more of you, which right now is very little.
Sorry, Johnny.
I definitely agree with Speedster though, and I know me and Casey have talked about this a few times.
Yeah.
It would. I think the way we thought is that you'd have to have some kind of buff that adds a damage over time whilst you're hitting them, so it's like you're hitting them really fast.
Well, a lot of it, the animation would have to sell it. I could see things like a speed vortex, which is the person going around a target and very quickly and doing a tornado effect with the character overlaid in it. I have no idea what the animation cost would be on that, but it would be a very neat thing to see.
Yeah, kind of like how crippling coils and stuff is a maintained hold. So you could do the same thing with that, where your character's just running in a circle around them, and it's lifting up whoever's in the circle.
Maintained punches, I'd like to see. Like a flurry of punches, like a cone.
I can see that.
North Star?
Yeah.
One thing that would be nice is running on water, but I don't know how the engine would be able to handle that.
I think Shinwei, I think it's water doesn't count as a surface, so I think they'd have to redo the water, which I suppose.
Yeah, they're not going to.
Yeah, it seems.
That seems
it'd be
like
nice
a
if they
giant
did, but
undertaking.
yeah.
That seems like it would mess Lemuria up. Something bad.
Yeah, if they didn't do it right, that could go very badly for Lemuria. Metamorph, again, that'd be. I'd love to see it. I guess they'd have to make it so it's like your appendages are weapon skins, and you can change them or something like that.
Well, you could do that, or it would either be that, or they'd have to make different powers for every weapon type.
Mm.
And are you looking at a Mr. Fantastic stretch Plastic Man, or are you looking at a Clayface metamorph the skin into a weapon and bash someone?
Yeah.
Those are a lot of different things to cover. I was more thinking along the lines of, you were talking of somebody like Beast Boy just turning into, I don't know, say a rhino skin and charging, then quickly switching back, and that being your lunge.
That's a cool idea, actually.
Yeah, because that is sort of already in with the vestiges of the vampire device, where you can transform into the beast form.
No, I think he means like literally each attack has you
quickly switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or have at least some sort of like ghost effect overlay over your character, like they're gaining the power of a rhino.
That would be cool.
And an animal metamorph power set as opposed to there could be multiple metamorph sets.
That's definitely
true.
Yeah.
And they've talked about doing a skin for running, which would be a transform into a cheetah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Be fun.
Yeah. Also, we missed out water. Water gets no love. Why? Why did we do this?
Water gets no love because
there's not many water characters in comics. Hydro-Man and who else?
Aquaman. Aqualad.
Aqua Hero.
I play an Atlantean, so
but
I think
they're not really water set characters.
No, that's true.
They just talk to fish. Yeah, plus also in the implementation, how different would water be from force?
Well, it gets to the point when you got so many power sets that things aren't going to be that different.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I understand where you're coming from. I was just throwing it out there. Thought I'd get a bit more support, but it's okay. It's okay.
We hate water. Dumb. Radiation, though, is something that I think they really need to do. Because it's a very common superhero origin point.
Origin point, yeah. Common superhero, probably not.
I think they could wrap it up just by putting another set in the energy projector and just call it energy, or something like that. And it's just like Kirby Dot energy powers, like the
Well, I think you can
like
do radiation
wave.
fairly easy. I mean, fire, green fire, you have Defile and some of the toxic moves.
Yellow fire.
We
talked about this last time, and somebody on the forums mentioned that yellow was actually a better way to go. And we decided we'd meet them halfway.
Greeny yellow.
I saw a heat power today done with a recolored darkness that looked really good. A character who had some kind of a magma appearance to him basically took darkness, recolored it, and it came off looking like steam. It was really, really good.
Huh, that sounds really cool.
I wonder what color they used.
Steam, huh?
I'm saying like light blue, maybe? Interesting.
Oh, I actually really like that idea. I might have to try that out on something.
Steal that one.
I'm totally stealing that.
We're just a bunch of thieves.
Really are. That's all right though. Thieves
That's
are
a bunch
among
of-
the most interesting people.
Okay, Casey, what power set would you like the most?
The absolute most, I mean, I'm biased because I really want daggers, because the main character that I play uses knives, and I can't do anything with it. But given that I think it should be part of archery, I think the set that I would want the absolute most would probably be Voodoo Sorcery. Something we didn't even mention. I'm coming
I was
out of
gonna
left
say.
field.
Voodoo sorcery.
You know all those powers that the Sovereign Sons have with all the voodoo dolls and stuff? Has that special sort of skin on the magic effects? I want that. Because that looks cool. And I could come up with something crazy with that.
You just want to rip off Dr. Facilier, don't you?
That's exactly what I want to do.
I'm okay with that. So, Johnny, power set you want the most? I'm sure it's going to be something. I'm going to be disappointed, actually. I've got my hopes up.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to come out of left field, too. And I'm going to say we need more Kirk punches.
Is Demolish
You know,
good enough for you?
Demolish is one, but there is many types of Kirk punches. Okay. God, what do I want? All right, I'm going to have to go with one that Scott said, Thundrax. Radiation. Just because I think the radiation set will be based more on controlling and less than damage, with like debuffs and stuff like that, which I really like to see as a stronger component of the game. Not saying it already isn't, because we're all going to get Ego Storm hate from this, but I want more of that. I want more of Ego Storm. not that I want
non-PvPer.
Not that I hate Ego Storm. Just based on the fact that there isn't more skills like Ego Storm. I want more controls.
That's fine.
No, I get where he's coming from. I mean, support in this game, the buffs and debuffs are way more useful than actually healing. If you can control someone, it's way better than being able to heal your teammate.
That I think is true, yes.
Yeah. What about you, Scott? What would you like to see?
I'll still go with the Starguard set. Just because, well, I've got one character who could really use it.
Yeah.
Another one that I thought of, and I have no idea what I'd put in it, would be a leadership powers set.
That's what I would. I think you could shields, like buffs and stuff like that. Like, you know, you throw in your shield up.
Yeah, it's a
like
case where I'd like a power set that really just goes heroic and without any apologies.
That would be cool. I could get down with that. It sounds like a cool idea.
I think things need to be said about powers that I've had for munitions. Like, if munitions gets a res where you pour a 40 out for your homies. Or you get a riot shield for a block attack or something. I think those need to come in, because I think that would be funny. Oh, and one where you can call up your homies and you have summons.
It doesn't sound like munitions. It sounds like gang warfare.
That sounds like something more for like villainous
Dark
champions.
champions?
Conquerors
Dark
Online or something like that.
Well, we
Hudson
could always
City.
have the silly power sets, the clown powers, the drunkenness powers, but
Yeah, we do need clown powers, actually, now that I think about it. I don't see enough punching gloves on those little things that you squeeze and shoots out.
I would support some gag powers, actually. That'd be
Gag
funny.
powers would be cool. Foxbat powers.
Foxbat powers.
They could
Yeah.
easily fit into gadgets, too. Well,
Yeah,
I guess
because-
you have a gun that turns things into teddy bears. That might be as close as we're going to get.
I think I'd like to see Speedster. I can't really say why. I think just at the moment, right now, I'm just like, yeah, Speedster would be cool. I'd like to punch things really fast. I'd like to spin around.
I'd like to spin around is all you really need to say, because I'm pretty sure we're all thinking it, too.
well, the power set should probably cover the top 6 Avengers and the top 6 Justice League characters, and the Flash is the obvious one that they haven't covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
That's really is. I mean, you can't really do a Speedster character. I mean, you can do martial arts, you can do electricity, but it's not the same. It's one of the harder ones to sort of convey in your actual powers. That's why I think I'd like it.
Especially because the animations are so slow
Yeah,
for a
exactly.
lot of stuff. So, yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk about villains, how to RP villains, and where villains fit in your roleplay. We've talked a little bit about this, and I think everyone here has either got a villain character or has GM'd a villain character in some way.
Not me. Nope.
Shut up, Casey. You've played a villain. You've played several villains, I think.
90% of my character list is villain.
Yeah. I've got a few. I haven't really done a lot with them yet. I need to. Johnny, you had Black Omen?
I had Black Omen. Yeah, I guess that's the biggest one.
You got what, King Calamity, was it? Or have you not made him yet?
Not made him yet.
Well, get on it. We need more villains.
Spoilers.
Come on. Scott, you GM a lot of events.
I've GM'd for 30 years, so...
Yeah.
Jim, for more years than we've been alive.
Speak for yourself.
You've definitely got us beat there. That's, I'm preaching to the choir for pretty much everything I'm going to be saying. This is not... Okay. Okay, so one thing we wanted to cover was, does it make sense for villains to be in social RP?
It depends on the villain. For Dr. Destroyer to come into your charity ball, no. It's, then everyone's going to attack him. For the charity villain to come in and spy on people, yes. Or the one who's got something in the planning stages but isn't a wanted criminal, yes. On the other hand, if you are someone who has gone into Capri for the 5th time after committing bloody massacres, and no, you're going to be stopped at the door by the bouncers who are good. They will be throwing your ass in jail, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Listeners of CORPcast, this man reeks of wisdom. Listen to him. Oh!
Except for Heat Screech, who is allowed into Capri because he amuses Louis Spray. But
no, we can't let Terry off that easy. No, he'd be in a birdcage.
I just want to say that I think if you said, hey, we're going to have Destroyer at this charity ball, you get a lot of publicity. I think that'll be good for the charity ball.
It would be funny if you did that and it was a fake Destroyer and the real Destroyer got pissed off that you were using him.
I think that's comic service.
That's more of a move for Dr. Brostroyer.
That's true. Albert wouldn't really care, but there are villains who probably would take an offense at...
Well, now hold on. We're not talking about what charity we're talking about now. It could be a very, say, dynamite for near dead orphans charity.
I support this charity, by the way.
You're a terrible person.
This podcast is sponsored by Dynamite for Nearly Dead Orphan Children. Donate now.
Oh, you're terrible.
Or we blow you up.
Well, they'll blow you up.
Yeah, they'll blow you up.
But they can't because they don't have dynamite.
Pay now. You can get dynamite. So if you refuse,
but no, you pretty much covered it there. This definitely depends on the type of villain. I mean, murderer, especially this is what you see all the time. You're going into Capri, you're going into Sherrera's or whatever, and it's like, someone's bragging about it, like, I murdered Defender's father. I mean, obviously that's just completely stupid anyway, but the fact that you're bragging about something you've done to a club full of superheroes?
Yeah, that don't make much sense. I mean, okay, I'm totally on board with the type of villain. I think if you're Lex Luthor, you're probably doing stuff like going into Heroes things and just being like, I am so smug, I am not in jail. Intelligence. But if you're like a guy who just, oh, hey, look, there's a sword on the ground, I'm going to go on a massive killing spree, die with Truckraft, die ironclad, and stab them. You're not going to get into, I don't think you're going to be really allowed anywhere inside of that game currently. Probably West Side would probably be your only chance for social roleplay, really.
And then, I mean, who's gonna want to be your friend? I mean, it's like
Asylum.
okay, all of your characters, because they're all just terrible people.
Yeah.
It's not wrong.
But you're not gonna see Black Omen, like, chilling anywhere.
I'd totally chill with Black Omen before he
Well,
died.
no,
He was a cool guy.
Well, no, you can still chill with him, because you're both dead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Every
No, that
time.
brings up a good point, though. I don't think on Black Omen that I ever did anything remotely social. I think the only thing I did was roleplay with one of one of Casey's characters, because again, she was evil and my minion.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, you can certainly do inter-villain RP and even villain social functions if you really want to go there.
Villain con.
I think the problem with social villains, though, aspect for villains, is villains always have their own agenda. Like, they're trying to achieve something for themselves. Like, I'm trying to steal the Diamond of Athamos or something like that. And that usually clashes with other villains. Other villains want to be like, I'm going to destroy the world. And other guys like, hey, no, don't do that. I live here. That's where I keep all my stuff. Stop that, you. And it just...
I'm just fond of the villain poker game from the Batman cartoon.
Yeah, again, it depends on the sort of villain. I mean, if you're playing like a mafioso villain or a crime lord, then it makes more sense than like, I don't know, someone who's, I don't know, like Hulk. Like, you know, Hulk wouldn't sit down and play poker, he'd smash the city.
I'm not okay with this
right
because
there.
you're calling Hulk evil.
No, okay, I didn't mean he was evil, but he is traditionally a quote-unquote villain. He smashed things. Okay, Grond. I'll say Grond. Do you want me, are you happy now, Grond?
I'm not happy until I get a full written apology, but go on.
Okay, yeah, like, Grond doesn't sit down and play poker with friends. That'd be kind of interesting, though.
Well, why do you think he made the other little Grond guys?
He didn't.
Well, he obviously, in the game, he's like, I gotta pull people to radiation, or they do. And they have all four arms, so I'm assuming that he's had children just to play poker games, which isn't very far off.
Okay, I think you kind of destroyed my point. So,
as you mentioned earlier, though, about mafioso villains and stuff, villain structure is generally a lot more rigid than hero structure. Heroes that are in the cosmic tier and in the street level tier, they sort of intermingle at certain locations. Villains very rarely go outside of their similar power level. Like, you're not going to see, I guess if I use the Joker for anything, I'm incorrect, because that's...
He's an exception a lot of the time.
He's an exception.
He goes where he wants.
Yeah.
Joker don't give a shit. He just takes what he wants. But, generally speaking, you're not going to have, like, a mafioso crime lord work on the same team as Black Omen. As I'm going to continually go back to Johnny's character.
My character was great and everybody knows him.
Because they're so far apart.
Right. It's like saying, it's like saying Poe is going to be working with Dr. Destroyer or Mechanon or something like that. It's just, they're completely out. They're not even slightly in the same league.
Well, that goes back to the point that I had, that villains rarely have such the same objectives. I mean, the only reason that villains in Batman usually get together is because Batman screws them over and they want to kill Batman. Or even Spider-Man, or most of the comics, the hero is the coinciding factor.
There are
that
exceptions.
brings them together. There are exceptions, I give you that.
Darkseid will go with the street-level crime boss for just causing trouble.
That's true.
And I could see, well, my villain Zerasto would do the same thing because he's basically a big demonic jerk who wants to cause as much trouble as he can.
I could see Asylum doing
I
it
can
as well.
see that.
I've just undermined my entire point.
Can you see Asylum? I can't see Asylum doing it.
But
I
you
can't see
need
Asylum
to be,
working with anybody.
You need to be aware of what's going on. And you need to have a reason, and it can't just be, I walk in blithely and associate with anyone with the evil card. Does it fit into your agenda, and can you coexist? And how long can you coexist, since villains often do not do so for very long?
I always love the hero-villain team-up to fight the bigger villain. I always love that. And I think
Spider-Man, Venom,
Spider-Man, Venom to fight Carnage.
Everyone.
Viper heroes to fight Demon, for example.
Us and Dr. Destroyer to fight Shadow Destroyer.
Gadgeroon.
Yeah. And the Gidgeroon.
Yeah.
That's always cool. I always like seeing that.
Me too. It shows what type of villain they are usually. It's usually the self-gain ones that will help, because, they don't want to die.
What villain isn't a self-gain villain?
Well, okay.
Black Omen, technically, because Black Omen...
he wanted to save the universe by destroying it, which is that doesn't make sense at all, but that's
he's
what
an
he was.
example of someone that's not going to gain anything from that, because he's also going to die. So...
Okay, I guess you're talking about non-psychotic heroes. Who are not
basically.
robot people from the future.
Mm.
Yeah.
In, like, the distant future. It is the year 3000.
The bleakest future, maybe?
All the humans are dead. Affirmative.
No, I'm not going to let you sing the rest of the song. No.
Darn.
Okay, so I think we're all pretty much on the same page for when it comes to social RP. So really, the best way you can get villains interacting is events, as we've said before. You run an event, even if it's a small, tiny event, you might just be one-on-one. If you do something that the hero is trying to stop you from doing.
Small, tiny events are the best way to get a hero to actively come to your events all the time and stop you. It's the best way to make a nemesis,
yes.
is what I'm trying to say.
Definitely.
Like Angelite, that player, she had a cosmic glory, which became sort of Dr. Black Omen. I don't know how that happened. I mean, he's a time-destroying supervillain of Doom in a robot suit, and he's all like distant future. But his biggest enemy was a 14-year-old girl.
He's not so tough.
And it worked.
It worked was a sad part. Okay, well, I guess it didn't. I guess I killed somebody who killed me.
Well, it is amazing, though, what doesn't work, because Glory, through the strength of her RP, is a really good player to bounce off of. And she's able to bring emotion to a situation that you don't often get from a lot of players. And good GMing is tapping into the strengths of your players and getting that response.
Building a situation that sort of warrants that response in the first... Yes, I agree. I agree to that.
Definitely.
I wholeheartedly agree.
You've got to build your thing to complement the people you're catering for.
Yes. Well, that should be...
Well, that should... Yeah, everyone... You should do that. That should be a given, but...
In the events, especially depending on how you want the event to go, like let's say you're doing an event where you want the villain to be captured at the end, you need to make sure that your villain is not like some psychotic, mass-murdering moron. Because then the proper solution there would probably be just to kill him. Like, you're not going to put him in prison.
That depends who you're role-playing with.
It does.
I'm pretty sure, say for instance, if Superman was fighting the Joker, Superman would not be like, man, you're goddamn crazy! I'm going to have to kill you.
Superman actually lost to the Joker when they fought.
Yeah. Yes, they did. Here he did, because he was just like, what the hell's going on? This makes no sense. And then he just basically went back to his little ice castle and just cried.
And it's a case of, in Champions, if Blue Bruiser or Thundrax is fighting Black Harlequin, both of those characters are going to want them to go to jail. On the other hand, if he's fighting some psychotic nutcase, then they're going to want to kill them. In fact, if the psychotic nutcase is fighting Foxbat, they'll want to kill them. Just in general principle.
Well, I'm pretty sure Blue Bruiser would snap anybody's neck right now. I never said that Blue Bruiser was a nice hero. People just sort of assume that.
He's too slow, though, to snap most necks.
He is. He's a really... Technically, he shouldn't have super jump or digging or rainbow flight. Don't tell me why I took rainbow flight. I took it because it's great, okay?
Yeah.
But yet, I would say that Blue Bruiser is not on your highest list of guys to get caught by, because I would say he breaks people's necks. A lot of people say he wouldn't. I don't know how that
Thundrax wouldn't. The list of characters that he would deliberately kill, probably run to Necrol and Cacophonies, and maybe Superior. And that's about it.
Ooh,
Necrol and
not even
Cacophonies are-
Destroyer.
Necrol and Cacophonies are technically already
Not
dead.
Albert.
Not good old Albert.
I want to give Albert a good old hug. He's a good guy.
But
He's a good guy.
there's some personal history there between Destroyer and Thundrax. So
Because Destroyer's Canadian, and he works for the Dominion of Canada. Yes.
no. Anyways, we'll get to that in the next part of the show. So
That's
true,
right.
we
You
will.
got to stay tuned for that. We're not giving up everything easy like Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel that was a bit low.
only other thing I'd add on this topic would be you can always use minions to make a presence for your villains.
Yes, we should talk about minions, actually.
That if you want your villain to go into the social function, have the minions bring out the television set, which you do the remote control signal, and then get annoyed when Caster tries to track it down. But never mind.
I did that with Black Omen bots.
Yeah, I like it when people do that. And you use, when your villain shouldn't have a physical presence there, you use
What
minions.
didn't the Omen bots do, really?
Well, they quoted lolcats. They did. I don't know. I
One of
shouldn't have
them
said
was
people
Slender
have-
Man.
One of them was Slender Man. I really shouldn't have said for everybody who's playing Omen bots to just have fun with it. But I think it sort of fit.
It worked out, though, because like you have Black Omen who's a super serious guy, and then you have Litany, and Litany just hates getting stuck doing all the Omen bot stuff because they're just so stupid.
Yeah, there's going around singing like Ric Flair quotes, like "woo" or whatever. I don't know.
Ugh.
It was the best way to get players to actually be Omen bots.
Yeah.
Do you want to be an Omen bot? No, not really. You can sing Barry White full time if you want. Okay, sure.
Just bait them in.
Yeah, heroes are punching robots. What I would do for you, girl. Oh no, Windows is crashing. We're getting off topic here.
So yeah, minions. I think most villains, I suppose the only kind of villains that don't have minions are like thieves, like, Catwoman type, or something that thinks they're really powerful, like, I don't know, Firewing in the Champions universe wouldn't have minions.
I would say a lot of people wouldn't have minions.
Okay, I mean the villains the players tend to play.
I would say
yeah.
most of them wouldn't have. I can't see Asylum having minions.
She has
I
minions.
can't see.
She's part of the New Shadows. She has gangster vampires.
Okay,
I work
fine.
with her.
I can see to the point. What about Wraith, one of Danton's characters? I can't see him having.
Yeah, he doesn't have minions because his minions are the other villains that show up, technically.
So he's like a trickster guy who's, I'm going to trick you into doing my work for you.
Exactly.
Kind of. Yeah, kind of.
And he's got such a superiority complex going on that it would be kind of undignified for him to have minions. They would just be too incompetent to really follow his plans.
Yeah. And then Furious Storm, who Reldon plays, he's got crazy sand zombies or whatever. So it depends on the character. Again, just basically I think the big thing to take from here is everything about villains depends on your character. Depends on your villain.
It just makes everything we said void. It's just like, it's okay, you can just ignore this if you want. I mean, it's your character. Yeah, I think really the social thing is mostly, I think that applies to most villains.
Yeah. Villains are hard to
Especially to RP
really get down.
consistently.
Yeah.
If you want to RP them as an actual character, it's difficult. Not many people do it because you can't really interact with a lot of people.
Well, because you don't have the venues for it.
Right, exactly. Which is why really, if you're going to be playing a villain, you're probably going to be showing them off exclusively in events, or maybe like one-on-one RP with another hero, confrontational stuff.
I'm good with this assumption.
Okay, so now we have another incredibly serious topic. I think this was Johnny's idea. If you were going to fight a blank, what would you do? Take it away, Johnny.
It's come to the time that you all know and love my topics, my super serious topics. Today's topic, if you were fighting a blank, what would you do? Casey, if you were fighting a rhino bird, what would you do?
A rhino bird?
A bird that is also a rhino. Go.
Like, what parts of this is rhino and what parts of this is bird?
The feet
Is this a
are
rhino
bird.
with wings?
The rhino is body. The bird, it's a rhino with bird legs. Go.
A rhino with no wings, just a rhino with bird legs.
Yes, go.
I'd be okay, because the bird legs cannot support a rhino's weight. So it would just sort of crash over, and then I would just walk off, probably.
I accept this answer. Tom, if you were fighting a Hulk Hogan seagull, what would you do?
Okay, is this like Hulk Hogan with wings? It's a seagull with Hulk Hogan arms, isn't it? That's what it is.
This would be a seagull with the Hulk Hogan head, and his arms, or seagull legs, sorry, would be 24-inch pythons.
Honestly, I think I'd just kill myself. I don't know how I could fight that. Come on, how could you fight a Hulk Hogan seagull? He's got all the advantages.
You tell him that the pilot has left the plane, mister. It's all over. The ultimate.
I like the Ultimate Warrior reference. I was also gonna accept a WrestleMania 4.
I didn't have it in me. I'm sorry. I failed.
You could have got an Andre the Giant reference in there.
I could have.
Right. No, that's fine. That's fine. You know, you try to the best of your ability, which in your case isn't much. Scott, if you were fighting a boxing giraffe, what would you do?
Hit below the belt, take the disqualification, and run.
A giraffe is so tall you cannot possibly reach below the belt.
Exactly. So,
Clever.
not much of a fight.
It's tactically sound, though.
What if it was a giraffe with a Mike Tyson head and just boxing gloves on its hooves? And let's mix this up too. It's walking backwards, so the legs come out forward, so it looks like it's punching. So we switch the head around too. So the head's on the ass, Mike Tyson head, punching gloves on arms, walking backwards.
I think I'd probably faint seeing it, or wonder if Cthulhu was around just from the sheer chaos. Or if I had my wits about me, I'd say, "Look, Robin Givens," and run the other way.
I think I just slapped a bottle of rye out of your hand. Okay, somebody has to do me now, because I will just give myself the easiest ones. So I'll give you the honor, Scott. Tell me what I am fighting and what I would do.
You are fighting a sea slug with a machete and a machine gun that breathes on land.
So this is Rambo Slug, obviously.
It's Rambo Slug.
Well, if it was Rambo Slug, I would move to the salt flats. Like that movie Wizard in 1980, where the wizards cannot touch salt, and they put the wizard book in the sand, or the salt, so the wizard can never touch it again. Except
and
the
it was
book would
worked
be
up?
me.
Okay.
I would be living inside the salt.
And
Thus,
it'd be double
never be
effective against the sea slug, so...
exactly. I like it.
Well, would sea
dehydrate.
slugs be bothered by salt? They live in the ocean.
Yeah, but the salt isn't like flat salt.
No,
It's still in the
They
water.
have to walk on flat salt. They dry them out, suck all the water out of them, and then effectively this Rambo Slug would be Rambo Slug jerky.
And then what would you do with
it?
Yeah.
Probably yes, because I'd be in the sand flats for so long, I'd probably be dead and starving and also lack of water.
You would probably have dehydrated a long time ago.
But who knows? Sea slug escargot may be very good.
It might be.
It could be. Actually, that's a better idea. I'd just move to France. No slug in his right mind would ever walk into that country, or even its airport.
If you were fighting Johnny, what would you do? Answer that in the thread.
Please, no hitting on my ego. I've worked very hard to get it this large. I don't need you scaling me back, please.
Okay, we've got Thundrax here, so obviously we're going to talk about Champion's Law.
Where would you like me to begin?
Would you like to tell us a bit about some of the law books you've authored, co-authored, contributed to? What are your contributions to the Champion's Law, basically?
Okay, well, first thing I ever wrote was back in '84 with this little scenario called Nova and Adventures Club. Has nothing to do really with lore anymore, so first major book was a thing called Villainy Unbound, which was basically a book of enemies, and I was not satisfied with some of the villains that were being produced at that time, so I got together and had something with a little more of a mature theme, something that was a little more representative of the comics of the late 80s that I liked, as opposed to some of the sillier stuff that was in the third and fourth Enemies book. And it was well received, and Hero basically said that we want more stuff from you. So I did Backworld in Champions in 3D, which was the first alternate dimension where good is evil and evil is good. And for those City of Heroes guys who keep whining about them doing it first, no, you didn't. Of course, I won't mention that we were stealing from old DC Comics in the first place. Everything gets recycled in this business. But the big project that I did in about '89 was a book called Classic Enemies, which was taking the first three villain books, updating everyone and combining them. And that's when I really got to play around with the Champions universe. And a lot of the old classic staple villains I got to adapt and develop. So I got to take some of my favorites like Firewing and double up the description, add a little bit about Malva and actually named the planet and did a little bit in the background there. And later authors took a lot of that stuff and developed it. So
that's really wait. You named Malva?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was also the first time I got to touch Dr. Destroyer. So, and I basically fleshed out his background and tried to figure out ways to basically de-Doomize him. Because George, his creator, who is an absolute wonderful guy and a very creative guy, just loves those old comics so much that he doesn't spend a lot of time filing off the serial numbers and hiding where the inspirations are from. And I wanted to make him more than a Doctor Doom clone. And that was the first time I got to work with Zerstoiten. And he was fun to work with. I think the best way to describe what he turned into was kind of a hybrid of Doom and the Red Skull, but without the hatred of the Red Skull. Zerstoiten is more of a bitter character. He came from a really lousy childhood. He was kind of like the ugly kid at the end of the street that no one played with, that everyone thought was weird and was going to grow up to be a psycho. Except that Albert was a brilliant scientist and technician, and he also was unethical enough that if he had to steal someone else's tech and inventions, he did so quite willingly and did what he could to get to the top. And Steve developed him even further in Book of the Destroyer, and is developing him actually reasonably nicely. I thought Resistance did a really good job with him. The one line that he had, which really pleased me, was when at the very end when he said magic is imprecise after Shadow Destroyer goes down the toilet into the queue. But that was one of the things I wanted to do to differentiate Doom and Destroyer, was add the Destroyer hates magic. And basically he's kind of the Nietzschean Superman. He does not rely on superstition. He does not rely on extra-dimensional forces. He will not truck with things that threaten to be greater than human. He, as a human being, is the paragon, the apex of humanity, of the human will, and he will survive and he will conquer because he deserves to. He is the ultimate Nietzschean Superman in his suit.
I like that. Big shout out to George MacDonald, who's actually, as you said, one of the ones who created Dr. Destroyer with the express purpose of being more of a Dr. Doom. And, of course, Scott Benny to fleshing him out. That is the guy you were fighting against on Champions, and yeah, look at all that art.
And
all that
Steve...
Oh, and Steve Long, I should say, sorry.
Steve developed the character even more in Book of the Destroyer. And I did get a chance to play in a couple of scenarios with Thundrax versus Destroyer over the years at cons, so those got thrown into Thundrax's backstory. Not that anyone cares, but just making a note of it.
Sure, we all care. Come on.
We care.
Everyone's gonna run over to your Parameters database page so they can, if they don't already know. I already remember most of it. But
oh no, that's threatening my page lead if I have one.
The next big book I did was Viper.
Yes, it's me and Casey. We kind of love Viper.
I co-wrote both the 1993 and the 2003 versions. The first one was Cliff Christensen, the second was Steve Long. And over the course, basically the 2003 is the blueprint for what's in the game.
That's the most recent edition.
Yeah. And that was a lot of fun. George also invented Viper, which was pretty much meant to be a Hydra tribute. The serial numbers were not heavily removed, although he never had a Strucker, he never had it was always kind of a faceless goon organization. And we added on some structure. And when Steve came up with unified all the timelines and basically gave birth to the Modern Champions universe in 2002, he folded a lot of the other subgenres into the timeline. Previously, Viper had begun at World War II and were basically disgruntled Nazi sympathizers who decided to fill in the vacuum. But I wanted to make it a little deeper, a little richer, so that if players in other genres wanted to fight the forebearers of Viper, I thought that would be a really cool thing to do. So I extended them back into the Valdorian Age, came up with the history of Nema, who basically, for more or less for laughs, and also because seeing the struggles of heroes amuses him, basically sent off snake-based organizations throughout the history of mankind for heroes to beat up. And Viper is basically his latest version of this. That he basically is the patron of this group, but not the leader. And then you have Essek, the Supreme Serpent, who basically Nemeth said, okay, you guys aren't doing very well right now. Here, this guy's in charge. And Essek organized them in the early 90s into what's currently Viper after 30 years or so of chaos.
I love Viper.
Yeah, it's just, I could just sit there and just listen to you talk about Viper. I probably would. I would. I
can see you doing that.
Yeah. The first book had tons of Viper enemies. That was what Cliff's contribution mostly was. When we did the revision, Steve wanted to cut back on them, so we only did about 12 or so. And Viperia's origin got drastically revamped and much improved over the original. unfortunately, we had to cut Viper Force 2, which was a really cool group out, but it lives on in Viper X and in the VMS Alpha team, which is yet to appear in Champions, and which I hope does at some point.
I very much hope they do.
Because having an elite goon squad would be a pretty cool thing to do.
Definitely.
I also want to see Viper agents on motorcycles.
Yes, they're just lying around. They're not being used. It's
so
kind of depressing.
sad.
Yeah. So, is there anything? I know I've seen your name in the Champions Beyond.
Yeah.
Is that because of your with the Malvins?
Yeah. I've done work in other parts of the game industry. I've worked for TSR back in the 80s. In 2003, I did a book for Green Ronin called Testament Role-Playing in the World of the Old Testament, which is basically D&D Old Testament style. So if you want to play Samson or a judge of Israel, you can do so. And it was actually a very cool book to write and very well received. I also did Agents of Freedom for Mutants and Masterminds, Steve Kenson's wonderful system, which is basically their take on agents, and that's in that system. And I got to do their kind of Until and Viper for that, Shadow and Aegis. One of the books that I always wanted to do was a Canadian source book. It's very close to my heart. And I was hoping to do it back in '93, and me and Rob Bell, who was the editor of The Line at the time, who's now a congressman in the Virginia State Assembly, gave the project to someone else because he thought I wanted to do Viper more than Canada, and it was the other way around. But anyway, Steve gave me the opportunity to fill it in, so I got to basically write Champions of the North 5th edition in 2007. And it was a wonderful book to write. And I basically got to reconstruct the heroic history of Canada going all the way back to mythic times, and essentially fold some Indian lore into kind of over myths with the land, sea, and sky spirits being kind of the great spirits over the northern parts of North America in battle with the ice. And got to reiterate lots of Canadian history, although Steve cut a fair bit out.
Did you really go to town on that then?
Yeah, it was probably about 10 pages longer, and a bit of it is lost in the editing. For example, I can understand Steve going, why would the Manitoba School Act possibly be important in Canadian history when it's absolutely one of the essential points on why English and French Canada have had such a great divide over the last century. But
the Métis, yeah. Was it the Métis? I can't remember. I gotta break this now because I have to question.
Although I did Riel earlier. I actually saw a character who was playing a Revenant spirit in Champions Online of Louis Riel, and I went right on. That was
Louis Riel.
Louis Riel reborn. Although he'd probably be more on the lines of a villain. But except in Quebec, where he'd be a hero. But
the Battle of Red River.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm going to shut up now.
The other funny one was Steve cut out a fair bit of my description of hockey, and I was with Rod Curry, who's another Canadian Champions player at Gen Con, talking about it, and Steve's going, Scott actually spent 3 paragraphs talking about one hockey game, and Rod looked at me and said, Game 8 of the Canada-Soviet series, and I nodded, and we both gave Steve a very dirty look, because it's really hard to tell an American what an absolutely pivotal event that was in Canadian history, not just in sports, but for the country as a whole.
Oh, geez, I can attest to that. Do you believe in miracles? Oh, wait, no, that was no. Oh, fuck.
You effed it up.
Henderson!
Oh, okay. See, you know what? I am a foreigner. I make no hiding about that.
No, but I remember I was there at the time, 12 years old, the perfect age to be a hockey fan, and just watching, and that's just such an unbelievable thing where you have the Canadian hockey players going up into the stands and fighting KGB agents, and it's real. It's not an imaginary story, because Canadian fans were there and cheering on and waving flags that were they tried to take away from them, and just an incredible thing. And then you've got the first ref in the game who being this bribed East German giving phantom penalty calls, and the Canadian player threatening to basically kill him during the course of this. It's
Wow.
Anyways, but it's hard to convey that to a foreigner just how incredible that event was. But
oh, he's called me a foreigner now. Oh.
No, I'm referring to Steve.
Oh, no. Steve doesn't live here. He's not a foreigner at all. He's a member of his own name. You directed that at me. Oh, I'm allowed to call myself. Oh,
Johnny,
so
you foreigner.
I try so hard to fit in.
Yeah, well, you're as cold as ice.
I like to try Tim Hortons, just to say I did.
Sorry, Johnny, but you're a long, long way from home.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm going back to my rolling hills, you jerk.
And I got to slip in a lot of references to Thunder, which was our campaign that we started in 1983 with Seamus, Avenger, Thundrax, and to my shock, they brought out Mark Derringer's a NPC in Champions Online and actually had him talk about the old campaign that I played nearly 30 years ago.
So you didn't know that was going to be in it?
No, I didn't.
I bet that was pretty cool then.
Although Avenger should not be saying, "Hi, old timer," and I'm going, "Avenger, it's me. I was your teammate back then, you idiot."
Nope.
I actually wanted to ask, is there anything that you've written or that you helped write that you're like really happy made it into the game? And you're happy with like how it was handled?
Oh, most of it, to be honest.
Anything in particular?
Put my thinking cap on. Generally a lot of Canada. I was really glad to see Viperia make it. I was glad to see Viper X. Like the first time I fought Viper X was really cool. And it's always cool hearing players talk about stuff you've written. So when people talk about Necrol or Viper X, you get sort of a grin on your face.
A warm, tingly feeling, yes.
You do. And especially when you hear people complaining about Justiciar owning them because he's in Stronghold. From a player standpoint, I understand why you were upset. From a creator standpoint, I'm just beaming and saying, "Oh, this is awesome," because they've got David as an overpowered goof, and all you people who have ever Dragon Wrath me with your cheesy moves and then gone QQ and learned to play, just this year is my revenge.
I like that. I don't like that, actually, because he does kill me a lot, time to time. God, he gets defiance and invulnerability. How am I supposed to... not fair.
That has to be fixed. Let's be honest. But from a very biased creative standpoint, I will be happy with that. And
I'm going to say that is a very thinly veiled fuck yeah.
And it's also nice that people don't give Justiciar the same sort of grief that they get due to Defender. So, and that's kind of nice.
Yeah,
he's like a robot man. You don't mess with robot men. If you watched any movie with Terminator or RoboCop, those are the lessons that you learn. Don't mess with robot men.
Well, Justiciar is, his inspirations are Terry Fox.
I kind of picked up on that, actually.
And I don't know if anyone knows this, but there's an obscure... Well, it's well known to people growing up in British Columbia, probably not to anyone else, but a poem called David by Earl Burney, which is basically Justiciar's origin, except that he doesn't live at the end. That the whole mountaineering accident, it's this guy who basically has an accident, is paralyzed, begs his friend who's with him to push him over the edge and finish the job, and he does, and it's very sad, and it's very much a rite of passage, and it's a great poem. But basically, I said, okay, take that poem, but in the Champions universe, you have Cyborg, so he can live.
He'll be a cyborg, and then he'll be abused by a villain because his father's a jerk, and then he'll go on to kill many people. Well, not kill, per se, but he's a cyborg man and shoots bullets, so...
Yeah, David is not really much of a killer, but that was someone else's role on the Northern Guard.
I just want to say the Ask Cryptic is up.
I was about to say that too.
Yeah. I was just flicking through it then.
Anything of interest?
I'm just kind of skimming through it.
Tell me anything
We all
important.
paused skin.
Yeah.
The unarmed change should be hitting PTS no later than 9:29, so that means the archetype is not unarmed.
No.
Interesting.
More on alerts.
Team duels are on the dev schedule for October 14th.
Oh, wow.
If we can get to you by the end of October, we will. So
that's very cool.
We can tag team. Excellent. I will. I'll hold down the Hulk Hogan. You can be Jake the Snake, and we will do battles with random partners.
All right. We can.
Actually, I guess I would be Jake the Snake because I have the mustache.
And a little bit more in alerts, which is something I'm very much looking forward to.
It's about
there's
time
3 types.
Three types of alerts.
4.
4.
Grab, Overdrive, Brawl, and Nemesis. In the Overdrive missions, you will become ultra-powered and fight against incredible forces.
Oh, that sounds like it's going to be fun. Now I can just imagine it. No, I can just imagine it now. Oh, hey, Trauma, what did you do? Over CRP, and Trauma's like, I just got back from beating up Captain Kronos, or whatever.
And your hair just turned blonde and spiky in this energy form, and for some reason it took you 5 days to do that fight.
Yeah.
All my fights take 5 days.
Munitions.
Oh. See, I made myself sad, and you just have to point it out. This is a really good Ask Cryptic, though. A lot of very cool things.
I like how ever since Minecraft came out, there's been more talk with devs type stuff. If anybody's really noticed that trend.
I've been very happy with the level of dev communication, largely because Rob and Toomer and a few and Tishan.
They've done a very good job with talking to the community. It seems like more developers are kind of following suit as well. Like I've seen a few more post it.
Explosions is up, and Ami has always been extremely good. I think this game would not be anywhere near as good if it wasn't for Ami and his and work on the powers.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, it's a very good Ask Cryptic. Lots of cool information about upcoming content and powers and zones. It take a long time for us to cover it all, so it's something to read, definitely. Okay, so for our last topic, we're going to talk about this week's new content, which is the Golden Age costume set. I've tried it out. Have you guys all tried it out?
I have tried it out.
I've tried a bit of it, but I haven't tried it all yet. I've adapted my one pulpy character, and when the pulp set comes out, hopefully next month, then we will get the jaspers that he needs and hopefully finally complete his look. But there's some good stuff in it, particularly for female characters.
Yeah, I haven't had a good chat. I've only tried it on a male character so far, and the pieces are all very good. They look good. I personally don't have a use for a lot of them, though, because they're all very...
Patriotic?
Yes, they're all very specific. There's the stars, there's the lightning bolts. They look good, but they're not quite for my characters.
I have one major complaint. Shields, more like bucklers. Tiny.
They are
tiny.
bucklers.
I feel terrible when I have that thing on my hand because it makes me feel like such a tiny, tiny man.
And we only hate that.
Tiny man.
I do. If you are under 5'6", I immediately don't like you.
Casey, what are your opinions on the set?
I agree with the fact that it's very specific. Not all of the pieces are, and some of the pieces I think came out a little weird.
No,
but
okay. Let me jump back out.
You had your turn.
I gotta point this out. There's costume set for a ninja.
I'm not saying that it being specific is a bad thing, but I'm saying that I can't use a lot of it because it's very specific.
Questionable. Go on.
What do you mean questionable?
Are you said exactly what I meant.
Are you telling me that you will use all of the lightning bolt options on Blue Bruiser?
I'm pretty sure I will not. But
yeah. Okay.
I will probably use the buckler type thing, even though it feels that I'm a tiny man. I'll make my wrists huge so they look bigger. I will probably use the little neck cape. That looks pretty cool. I think it would fit pretty well.
It does look cool. No, I know what Casey means though. It's like cool. Yeah.
You're only getting a few pieces of utility for a lot, but at this point, I don't think you're going to be finding a lot of sets where you'll be using a large number of pieces. We've covered a lot of the basics.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And I'm probably not going to be using the bird set or the ninja set, but other people will, and great for them.
Definitely, it's a good set. I mean, I do like it. I just personally haven't found a lot of use for it in the short time I've had with it. I do like the buckles though. That's probably my favorite thing, and the higher quality tights pattern on the chest for males.
It's nice having new hairstyles as well.
I'm not a fan of the new hairstyles, I've got to say. It's nice having more. Oh, I like the male ones. The male ones are okay. I don't really like the female ones.
I can't believe that we're talking with this guy. Tom, I'm talking about you here. So you just feel bad when I say this, that you do not like the more options that they have given us. I mean, they never given us hairstyles before in a costume pack.
Yes,
they have. The Harajuku set had hair.
But no, I'm not.
Yeah, but that was specifically for ladies.
No, I just said I like the male ones.
Yeah, but you were humming and hawing about it. I want you to be like, yes, it's awesome, because truthfully, yes, it is awesome that we get hairstyles now with our packs. I want this to be a feature that they host daily. Like, next time they throw out, I don't know, the avian set, I want to have feather hair.
Okay.
I want feather hair.
I'm sorry, Johnny. I didn't think you felt so strongly about this.
I feel strongly about most things. You just never take the time to listen.
I'm sorry.
As well, you should be. Carry on.
It's good. I liked it. I like how the pulp set looks. Again, it seems like something that a lot of people might not get a lot of use out of, but nothing wrong with that. As long as at least one person gets use out of it.
You only need one person to enjoy it. That's not true, but
You need like probably at least 100 to get back the money that you spent.
it's pretty more than that. Let's be honest. It's pretty way more than 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's going to be a good set. A lot of people are looking forward to the pulp set. I'm looking forward to the pulp set.
That's my big want at this point. My big want is Foundry, but that's going to be very far in the future. But in terms of the things that I know of that are on deck, the pulp is up there.
Yeah, definitely. That's the only other thing this week is the hideout bank slots being put up on the C-Store, which I think's fine. No problem with that. I don't mind.
There's a problem.
Is there?
Yep. You can buy those bank slots without a hideout.
That's a very odd bug. Hopefully, not many people will do that until it gets fixed.
Wait, what?
The bank slots are for your hideout bank, but you can buy them even if you don't have a hideout.
Oh. I wonder if you then get a hideout, does it redeem them?
No. You would have to buy the hideout, which will annoy a certain amount of people, and for good reason, actually.
Yeah, that's not a great oversight.
I kind of wonder who's going to be buying the hideout slots when
Silver.
they don't. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm with Casey on this one. They're silvers. Silvers. They want to be big people like us, but they can't.
You're terrible people.
They're awful.
That's. Oh.
No, okay.
You're classy. You're classy, Casey. You're a classy guy.
And just before we wrap up, we've got a couple of events to cover. Casey, take it away.
There is an event being hosted by Relvin. It is a Furious Storm event. The title event is The End is Nigh. The first part of it, as this will be a multi-part event, is going to be Saturday, October 1st at 2 p.m. server time. I actually think that almost all the sign-up slots are full right now, but you have to go onto the forums and you have to let him know that you want a character to sign up. You need to say what team it is, and if you want them to be in the main team or in a reserve team. And almost all of the main teams are filled up. It looks like there's only one slot open for each one. So make sure that you go. You can you can probably let them know in-game if you want, but it'd be easiest to post it on the forums.
And that's all for events, I think. As usual, if you want us to plug up an event, just post it on the forums. We will probably do it without your permission if it's on the forums. But feel free to send any of us a message in game. We actually we have a thread on Corp forums. I've made a thread. There'll be a thread for this on the official forums. If you want us to plug some kind of event, costume contest, an RP event, whatever, we'll do it.
We will do it. What Tom is trying to say is we have more threads than threads are in a pair of pants. So really, there's no reason for you not to contact us.
I've gone overboard with making threads.
That's good. We'll never run out of pants. We'll never have the problem Solomon Grundy had.
Okay, and I think that's probably a fantastic place to end pants, Solomon Grundy's pants. It's the thought that we're going to leave you with. This has been episode 5 of CORPcast. Tom, Double98, and we've had a fantastic guest, Thundrax. Been amazing. I was enraptured. I think I just sat there listening for most of it.
I was glad to be here, and thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. It was an honor. I loved it. It was great. So this has been episode 5 of CORPcast. Thank you for listening. You didn't, and I thought one.